I had a very emotionally intimate night with my best friend, but now I'm scared he will pull back. I never thought a simple sleepover would turn my world upside down, but that's exactly what happened with my best friend, Alex. We've known each other for years, but something shifted that night, leaving me both exhilarated and terrified. It all started when Alex came over for our usual movie night. We'd been planning it for weeks, eager to catch up and unwind after a hectic semester. As I opened the door, I was struck by how good he looked in his casual jeans and hoodie, his dark hair slightly tousled. "Hey there, sleepyhead," he greeted me with a grin, holding up a bag of snacks. "Ready for a horror marathon?" I laughed, feeling a flutter in my stomach that I chose to ignore. "You know it. Come on in." We settled into our usual spots on the couch, surrounded by pillows and blankets. As the first movie started, I couldn't help but notice how close we were sitting. Our shoulders brushed occasionally, sending little sparks through my body. Halfway through the second movie, exhaustion began to creep in. I'd had a long day of classes and part-time work, and my eyes were getting heavy. Alex noticed my struggle to stay awake. "Hey," he said softly, nudging me. "It's okay if you want to sleep. We can always finish the movies another time." I shook my head stubbornly. No, I'm fine. I want to keep watching." He chuckled, his voice warm and low. "You're so stubborn. Come here." Before I knew what was happening, Alex had shifted on the couch, pulling me gently against him. I found myself lying with my back pressed to his chest, his arm draped over my waist. My heart raced at the unexpected intimacy. "Is this okay?" he asked, his breath tickling my ear. I nodded, not trusting my voice. It was more than okay, it felt right in a way I couldn't explain. As the movie continued, I felt myself relaxing into Alex's embrace. His hand found mine, intertwining our fingers. "Just in case you get scared," he murmured, giving my hand a squeeze. I don't remember falling asleep, but I do remember the nightmare that jolted me awake. Images of shadowy figures and creeping dread lingered as I gasped, momentarily disoriented. "Shh, it's okay," Alex's voice cut through the panic. "I've got you." I turned in his arms, burying my face in his chest. He held me tightly, one hand rubbing soothing circles on my back. I breathed in his familiar scent, a mix of laundry detergent and something uniquely Alex, and felt myself calming down. "Want to talk about it?" he asked after a while. I shook my head, still clinging to him. "No, just. Can we stay like this for a bit?" "Of course," he replied, his voice soft and reassuring. "As long as you need." We lay there in comfortable silence, the TV now playing some late-night infomercial. I focused on the steady rhythm of Alex's heartbeat, marveling at how safe I felt in his arms. It was a new feeling, one that both thrilled and confused me. As I drifted off again, I heard Alex whisper something that sounded like, "I've got you, always." But I couldn't be sure if it was real or just a dream. The next time I woke up, sunlight was streaming through the curtains. I found myself sprawled on top of Alex, his arms wrapped securely around me. For a moment, I panicked, wondering if I should move. But then I saw his eyes open, a soft smile spreading across his face. "Morning," he said, his voice husky with sleep. "How'd you sleep?" I blushed, realizing I was still lying on his chest. Good. Really good, actually." "You?" He hesitated for a moment, his expression turning serious. I had some nightmares. But hugging you. It helped. A lot." My heart skipped a beat at his admission. "Really?" Alex nodded, his hand absent-mindedly tracing patterns on my back. "Yeah. Every time I woke up feeling scared, I'd just hold you tighter, and I don't know. It made everything feel okay again." I didn't know how to respond to that. Part of me wanted to analyze every word, every touch. But another part, a stronger part, just wanted to stay in this moment. "I'm glad I could help," I finally said, offering him a shy smile. He returned the smile, his eyes crinkling at the corners. "You always do. You know, I'm not usually touchy with anyone. But with you, it's different. It feels nice to let my guard down." We stayed like that for a while longer, neither of us wanting to break the spell. Eventually, though, reality intruded. My stomach growled loudly, making us both laugh. "I guess that's our cue to get up and find some breakfast," Alex said, reluctantly loosening his hold on me. As we moved around the kitchen, making coffee and toast, I couldn't help but steal glances at Alex. Had something fundamentally changed between us? Or was this just a temporary blip in our friendship? Over the next few days, those questions consumed me. Alex and I texted as usual, but there was an undercurrent of tension in our conversations. We both seemed to be dancing around what had happened, unsure of how to address it. Then, during one late-night text session, I found myself admitting something I hadn't even fully acknowledged to myself. "I miss it," I typed, my heart racing. "The way you held me. Is that weird?" The three dots indicating Alex was typing appeared and disappeared several times before his response came through. "Not weird. I miss it too. A lot. I keep thinking about how your back felt under my fingers." I let out a breath I didn't realize I'd been holding. "Next time, I'll hold you tighter," I promised. "I'd like that," he replied, adding a smiling emoji. The conversation shifted after that, becoming lighter, more playful. We made plans to meet up again soon, ostensibly to work on a class assignment together. I was practically bouncing with excitement when I got permission from my mom for Alex to come over. "Hey, good news for both of us," I texted him. "My mom allowed you to come over for the assignment." I waited eagerly for his response, but none came. Hours passed, and still nothing. Anxiety began to gnaw at me. Had I said something wrong? Was he having second thoughts about everything? Finally, late that night, a message came through. "Sorry for not responding earlier. Didn't really want to talk to anyone today." My heart sank. It was such a stark contrast to our earlier conversation that I didn't know how to respond. Was he pulling away? Had he decided that our night together was a mistake after all? I tried to give him space, but my mind was in overdrive. Every scenario I imagined seemed worse than the last. What if he never wanted to be close like that again? What if our friendship was ruined? A few days later, unable to bear the uncertainty any longer, I reached out again. "Hey, you okay? I've been worried about you." His response came quicker this time. "Yeah, sorry. Just been dealing with some stuff. Can we talk?" We agreed to meet at our favorite coffee shop the next day. As I waited for him, nervously fidgeting with my cup, I tried to prepare myself for the worst. When Alex walked in, he looked tired but gave me a small smile as he sat down across from me. "Thanks for meeting me," he said, running a hand through his hair. "I owe you an explanation." I nodded, not trusting myself to speak. He took a deep breath. "The other night, when we were texting about missing each other, it scared me." My heart dropped. "Scared you? Why?" "Because," he said, meeting my eyes, "I realize how much I care about you. How much I want to be close to you like that again. And it terrifies me." I blinked, surprised. "It does?" Alex nodded, his expression vulnerable in a way I'd rarely seen. "What if we mess this up? What if we try something more and it ruins our friendship? I don't think I could handle losing you." Relief and a whole new set of butterflies flooded through me. "Oh, Alex," I said softly, reaching across the table to take his hand. "I'm scared too. But I think it might be worth the risk." He squeezed my hand, a spark of hope in his eyes. Yeah, I confirmed, feeling braver by the second. We've been friends for so long. We know each other better than anyone. Maybe that's the perfect foundation for something more. A slow smile spread across Alex's face. "You might be right. So, what do we do now?" I grinned, feeling lighter than I had in days. "Well, for starters, you could come over and we could actually work on that assignment. And maybe see where things go from there?" Alex's smile widened. "I'd like that. A lot." As we left the coffee shop, walking close enough for our hands to brush, I felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. We were stepping into uncharted territory, but it felt right. Whatever happened next, I knew one thing for certain: that night of the sleepover had changed everything, and I couldn't wait to see where this new chapter would take us. Over the next few weeks, Alex and I navigated this new dimension of our relationship with a mixture of excitement and caution. We still hung out as we always had, studying together, watching movies, grabbing coffee, but there was an undercurrent of electricity to every interaction. Sometimes, when we were sitting close on the couch or walking side by side, our hands would brush, and we'd both freeze for a moment before slowly, tentatively intertwining our fingers. Other times, one of us would catch the other staring and we'd both look away, blushing and smiling. It was during one of our study sessions at my house that things shifted again. We were sprawled on my bed, surrounded by textbooks and notes, when Alex suddenly groaned and flopped onto his back. "I can't look at another equation," he declared dramatically. "My brain is officially fried." I laughed, setting aside my own notebook. "Break time?" He nodded emphatically, then patted the space next to him. "Come here." My heart skipped a beat as I moved to lie beside him. We'd been careful about physical contact since that night, both of us unsure of the boundaries. But as I settled next to him, Alex's arm came around me, pulling me close. I rested my head on his chest, listening to the steady thump of his heartbeat. "This is nice," I murmured. "Yeah," he agreed softly. "I've been wanting to do this again for weeks." I tilted my head to look up at him. "Why didn't you?" Alex's free hand came up to brush a strand of hair from my face. I guess I was still a little scared. Worried I might be pushing too fast or reading things wrong. "You weren't," I assured him, gathering my courage. "I've wanted this too." His eyes searched mine for a moment before he leaned in, pressing a soft, hesitant kiss to my lips. It was brief, just a gentle brush really, but it sent sparks through my entire body. When he pulled back, Alex's expression was a mix of wonder and uncertainty. "Was that okay?" In response, I leaned up and kissed him again, deeper this time. I felt him smile against my lips before he returned the kiss, his hand coming up to cup my cheek. When we finally broke apart, we were both a little breathless. Alex rested his forehead against mine, a goofy grin on his face. "Wow." I giggled, feeling giddy and lightheaded. "Yeah, wow." We spent the rest of the afternoon talking, kissing, and simply enjoying being close to each other. It felt like the most natural thing in the world, as if we'd been meant to end up here all along. As the weeks turned into months, Alex and I settled into our new relationship with surprising ease. We still had moments of uncertainty, times when we'd both pull back a little, scared of how intense our feelings were becoming. But we always found our way back to each other, stronger for having worked through our fears together. Our friends were supportive, if a little smug about how long it had taken us to figure things out. "We've been waiting for you two to get together for years," my best friend Jess told me one day over coffee. "It was getting painful to watch you dance around each other." I blushed, remembering all the times I'd insisted to her that Alex and I were just friends. Was it really that obvious? Jess just laughed and patted my hand. "Honey, you two have been in love with each other since freshman year. I'm just glad you finally did something about it." Her words stuck with me, and that night, as Alex and I cuddled on his couch watching a movie, I found myself turning to look at him. "Hey," I said softly, waiting for him to meet my eyes. "I love you." It was the first time either of us had said it, but the words felt right, like they'd been waiting to be spoken for years. Alex's face lit up with the brightest smile I'd ever seen. "I love you too," he replied, pulling me in for a kiss. "So much." As I snuggled back against him, his arms tightening around me, I thought back to that first sleepover that had changed everything. Who would have thought that a night of horror movies and nightmares would lead us here? But maybe it wasn't just that night. Maybe it was every moment we'd shared over the years, every laugh, every inside joke, every time we'd been there for each other through good times and bad. All of it had been leading us to this point, to the realization that what we had was more than just friendship. I don't know what the future holds for us. College is almost over, and soon we'll be facing new challenges, careers, possibly long distance, all the complexities of adult life. But as I feel Alex's steady heartbeat against my back, his fingers lazily tracing patterns on my arm, I'm not afraid. Whatever comes next, we'll face it together. And that night, when Alex holds me close and I cling to him, chasing away each other's nightmares, I know that this, us, is exactly where I'm meant to be.